Welcome everyone, today we have an exciting build for Diablo 4 Season 2 with a boss slaying build. And just like that, the boss died. So let me show you guys the hits again. And yes, this build will be focused on killing the bosses in the game, especially in Dorio. And I'll have the entire replay of me running through the testing dungeons. So over here, it was actually quite hard to capture the damage. On this testing run, I was level 80. I was able to do 15 million damage with a critical hit with overpower hit. And this is the color of the damage. Of course, this is not the highest one, but I was just testing the build at very low levels, before getting to level 90, at level 100, before getting my glyphs up. All my glyphs was like very low level during this time. Now, if you're wondering how does this build fare with Dorio, so here what I'm demonstrating is both my lower level Barbarian with weaker glyphs and also higher level Barbarian with Barbie using his pretty much maxed out level glyphs. So here during the rounds with Barbie, you can see that I was critting for about 25 million with one hit, and he was hitting for close to half of boss's HP with one shot. And his Barbarian was able to two-shot the boss with the right timing. So just to show you guys some footages over here before we dive into the build. This overpower critical Hota Barbarian build is very powerful, and I was asking Barbie how he was able to do it and what are the details to it. So this build is very fancy because you can be hitting for a lot harder with your critical hits, and usually within the span of 10 seconds the boss dies or the boss escapes, and usually just wait a little bit for the boss to come back up and you two-shots the boss. Yes, the build is going to be very powerful on Barbarians, especially having stronger items and also uber items. And the stronger you become, the even stronger you hit. Now, unfortunately, during those rounds, I haven't been getting a uber unique. And that's been like, past 25, 30 rounds. And yeah, a little unfortunate for that, but I'm still trying for my uber uniques. So coming over to my mobilities builder. This build is fully perked out for level 100 Barbarian, and at level 100 you're pretty much gonna get 3-shot the boss or 2-shot the boss, depends on your items and also your critical chances, and also just how lucky with your critical strikes are. And yeah, the build is very powerful, and I'm gonna briefly go through the items, skills of choices, the skill rotations, and also how things works. And once you get it up, you'll see the powers of the Barbarians, and that's one of the reasons in the replays I've been leveling the Barbarian. And during this particular replay, I was level 91 Barbarian now. Remember previously I was only like level 60. I've been leveling my Barbarians, try to get the build going and try to slay the boss faster with the Barbarians before they get nerfed. So let's first come over to the equipments or the gears of choice. Right away you can see we're using quite a bit of the unique gears. The first one I'm going to use is going to be the Barbarian new unique gear, which allows us to gain additional Berserk and also increase damage and also more Fury. This is actually very powerful with the stacking of damage while Berserking. What you're going to see with a lot of stats over here is I have given you guys a choice of different stats. For example, for the weapons, you can go with core skill damage or damage while Berserking. I would say that it is stronger with damage while Berserking if you can keep the Berserk going. Now the core damage is okay, you can also go for close damage. But overall, the strongest one you want to go for most of your gears is going to be damage while Berserking and stacking the Berserking multiplier. And this is going to be the goal of the build. Now for the rest of the unique items, you're going to go for the Overpower Amulet, which allows you to deal more damage with your Overpower, which will enable you to time your Overpower after 300 resource spent and then hitting a massive damage. Now as for the pens, once you get Unstoppable, you'll be doing more damage. This pens also provides you with a gain of your primary resource, which will be Fury. With maximum Fury, you're going to be hitting very hard. Now for the rest of the gears, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to get the aspect of Disobedience for some extra armor. We're going to have both of the shout rings for the cooldown reduction and also increased Fury while shouting. As for the gloves, we're going to go with Helm of Ancient, and this will be the primary resource of spending the core spells to do damage. As for the boots, we're going to go with the increased movement speed while Unstoppable. This is going to be very powerful with the empathic power of Metamorphosis, together with the unique power of the pens, and also together with this particular vampire power to give you additional attack speed based on your movement speed. Now as for the weapons, we're going to go with Ice Master, and also over here we'll go with the increase of core skill damage with the two-handed weapons. As for the one-handed, we'll go with a little bit more increased overpower damage, and also we'll go with core skill critical strike to give us more attack speed. This build is very well run, and the way I'm saying is, this has infinite growth potential because the more uber unique items you get, the stronger you become. You can be getting the two-handed sword, the grandfather, to gain a massive damage boost. Similarly, you can be using the one-handed sword, similar to what I'm doing over here. I'm currently using the Doombringer to give myself additional damage, additional life, and also just happiness. So if you look at my HP, I'm currently on 15,000 HP. So if I take this off, I'm back to 11,000. So this sword actually gave me about 4,000 HP just with this sword. And if you guys remember with fortified, the more fortified you are, the more HP you are, the more damage you deal with overpower. Now, of course, not trying to brag about having uber unique items, but as you fight Doriel with the Barbarians, you tend to kill it very fast. This saves you more time to be going for other farming method and other things in the game, and this gives you a quicker chance of going for items. Now, similarly to the uber unique weapons, you can also be getting the shackle, and this will give you +4 to all your skill ranks, which will be very powerful. And finally, if you happen to have found the Ring of Starless, this will give you additional resource reduction to your core spells. And additional damage, critical chance, critical strike is also nice for the build. So I'm currently using those two uber uniques for my build. It is definitely workable, guys, without any uber uniques. But this build, the potential for scaling is massive. You can equip at least 4 uber uniques. Even the 5th one is also good. But compared to the Lost Talisman, the 5th uber unique is a little tricky. We talked about in the previous videos, that one's a little tricky. So you can equip at least 4 uber uniques, but you can go for 5 over here with the amulet. Now, briefly going through the stats of choice. So usually you want to get maximum fury on the rings, you can be getting damage while berserking, resource generation, and also critical chance. I'll have another alteration of the range choices over here. So usually you want critical chance, berserking, maximum fury. The last one can be resource generation, close damage, or maximum life. Now everything else is pretty straightforward because you'll be getting a lot of more damage from everywhere else. You can still get damage on the chest, but if you find yourself a little squishy, you can take away the overpower damage on the chest and go for something more defensive, like damage reduction while fortified, or maybe just a pure damage reduction. You do want to be getting overpower damage, critical chance, hammer of ancient, and also attack speed on the gloves if you can. And on the boots, you really want to look for additional dashes. So the additional evade on the boots will be very important to give you 3 extra evade for all the powers of your synergies. And getting movement speed, fury cost is also very important for those boots. Now in terms of the stats for the weapon, I would recommend going with overpower damage, damage while berserking, and all stats and also strength if you can. Now if you're unable to get this one, you can still go with core skill damage, you can still go with close damage, that can also work. And in terms of the choices of the weapons, we'll be using the two-handed axe for the increase of healthy damage. And similarly here, I'm also using the two-handed axe. I can use another two-handed axe in replacement of the Doombringer if I don't have this sword. Now I can also go with 2 maces, which will give me more overpower damage. So just to show you guys my overpower damage, I'm not even stacking a lot. My glyphs are not even level 15 for most of them. And I'm still on 1600 with overpower damage, which is quite powerful. Now coming over to the sockets of choice, we're going to go with overpower damage on the weapon and also increase maximum life on the gears, just so we have higher life, higher damage with overpower. Finally, depends on what your defensive needs is, you can go with different resistance. Now this build is a little squishier, you can see most of my resistance are not capped out. I'm capped out on poison and also on fire at the moment, but everything else is not capped out. So do keep in mind, this can potentially happen. You do want more poison resistance against Doriel though, because this will be the major source of damage. Now we spoke about the vampiric powers. Metamorphosis and also Ravenous are really good in terms of ability to debuff enemies and to gain unstoppableness and also bonus damage. Now here, if you go with Prey on the Weak, you can also debuff enemies with Vampire Curse and also make them vulnerable while you dash into them. Finally, if you go with Blood Boil, which is a guaranteed overpower after 20 seconds, that means if you time correctly, when the boss spawns, you can one-shot the boss or two-shot the boss, depends on your critical chance and also on your damage. We're also going with Shangrun's Brace, and this is a very powerful, minor power, which gives you pretty much constant fortify in the dungeons, but while fighting the boss, while having higher fortified, you'll be having additional 8% critical chance, which is very good as well. Now over here, for the mastery of the boss slaying Barbarian, against the boss, you want to go with a two-handed axe mastery, which will give you vulnerability damage multiplier and also increase critical chance against vulnerable enemies. Now, alternatively speaking, I have written over here that you can go with a two-handed sword for the mastery. And let me just show you guys what I mean by that. So if you're fighting normal monsters and you want to have more berserk, so you can go with a two-handed sword to start bleeding enemies. Once you start bleeding enemies, so I'm going to quickly jump over here to the Paragons, you're going to see there will be one part in the Paragon that allows you to kill bleeding enemies to gain berserk. And this will also give you a massive 25% berserk damage multiplier. This allows your head, the unique head, to trigger to deal more damage, to gain more fury, more cooldowns, while gaining more berserk during berserk. Now briefly going through the skill traits. The skills are pretty straightforward. You're pretty much guaranteed overpower hit after critical hitting with your bash. We'll be going with maximum level into Hammer of Ancient and also maximum fury give us more damage. Getting some maximum life also means you do more overpower damage, and we're going with the shout build. Now notice over here, I'm going with level 1 to solve the shout debuff and also life regen. And here I'm not going with a maximum level in terms of defense capacities. Some of those points were given so you can deal more damage against injured enemies, getting more critical chance, and also over here, you'll be maximizing every way you can to get more damage, including the increase of critical strike damage by a multiplier of 15%. So this build is tailored towards dealing more damage very quickly and killing the boss very fast. Now briefly going through the Paragons, we're getting more damage while berserking, which is always good. After that, we're actually getting the increased overpower damage and also damage while holding a mace, which is what we do, right? Now one thing I want to highlight is over here, I have passed the Paragon board or the trees a little different to what usually is. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you guys more rare knots at the start of the two board. So this way the future of the board, you're not going to see a lot of rare knots. Simply because, let's say if my all stats are not high enough, I will not be able to enjoy the benefits. So notice over here, you can enjoy the benefits of fitting 540 dexterity. But sometimes it's possible that you might not have those stats. So the Paragon board is tailor designed, so the earlier part of the Paragon board, you can enjoy all the rare knots to get double stats. And later on, you will not have that many rare knots to be worried about. And the final board doesn't have any rare board, so you're not obligated to try to go for those double stats. Now keep going with the Paragon board, you're getting more overpower damage and also some maximum fury. And here you'll be getting the shouts reduction to cooldown. I'm thinking it's possible we take away the shouts as well if I can consistently two-shot the boss, because we don't need shots cooldown, you can go for another source of power over here for more damage. Now here you'll be going with a critical strike glyph, which allows us to have more critical strike damage and also gains fury while critical strike. Finally, the ultimate damage multiplier will be coming from damage on berserking. Because you're getting a lot of berserking stats, while berserking you'll be doing a lot of damage, and this knot will give you even higher powers because of this. Now briefly going through the skill rotations and also the uses of power for this Barbarian. Now during the recording I was only level 81, so it's not going to be the fully perked out Barbarian, and I don't have my maximum fury gain, I don't have a lot of utility during this time. So in terms of the Barbarian, it's quite straightforward. You are a little squishy if you push for tier 100, but it is definitely doable in this build. Now while fighting the monsters, you just want to smack them with high maximum fury. Remember to dash into enemies, and during this recording my dash was not metamorphosis. I did not unlock the vampiric powers, and this is why you can see me, I was a little squishy. It still does tons of damage, and the most satisfying part is, you can just one-shot almost anything in the game because of the overpowered critical hits. Now a small tip over here against the boss. Notice here I'm currently on 300 fury spent. This means my next hit will guarantee the critical hit because of the amulet. And this allows me knowing that just come and one-shot the boss, right? So not guaranteed to critical hit, but rather guaranteed to gain the overpower damage. So let me try to show you guys an example over here. So one way I realized of, kind of building up for the overpower damage is to actually have yourself spend the Fury. Now I'm level 91 with more ways of getting resource. I can show you guys this little trick I do before the boss spawns. So this is a little bonus, right? I think I just realized it today. So let me get off to my mount. So notice I don't have any Fury. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast my spells, but I'm going to start doing my Hammer of Vengeance. And I can dash around to get my Fury. So usually before the boss starts, I can make sure I'm topped up with Fury and also it's spent to 300. And this way, as I dash around, I'll gain more Fury because of the pins. And once I come to the boss, I just smack and everything dies. So basically, you can start to spend your Fury to prep yourself up for the boss. And by dashing, you'll be gaining more Fury back. So this way, once you spend 300 Fury, you are guaranteed to crit on the next hit. And then you just go for it. So I'll do it again. So 300, right? So now I'm going to top up my Fury and dash a little bit. Do notice that when you dash, you have to become unstoppable to gain all the Fury. Let's pretend this is the boss, right? Now I'm coming to the boss, I go one smack, and they all die. So yeah, this is a nice little trick to allow yourself to be one-shotting the boss. And that's what happened to me while I was testing for the runs for the boss. Now, during this time, my glyphs and also my items are not fully perked out. And once they perk out, my friend Barbie was able to one-shot or two-shot the Dorio boss in the hardest difficulty. And it's actually pretty fun. So notice I'm still leveling those. Once I get them perked out, I'll be much stronger and provide you guys with a better demonstration at level 100 for the Barbarian. Now what I do over here is I'll give you guys a brief replay, not going to be a long replay because this is only a level 80 Barbarian. I just want to show you guys the potential of running through dungeons and also clearing through content. And yes, I have been testing using uber unique items. This does make me a little stronger, but normally speaking, this Barbarian have no problem with any part of the content in the game. And the best thing about this is you don't need uber unique items to be strong, but you can use most of them to make you even stronger in the game.
Must wait.
If you guys haven't subscribed, it is a really good time to do so, because I'll be covering tons of Diablo 4 related topics and also videos and also guides. We'll be looking to the top meta builds, non-meta builds, leveling up, and also Paragon tricks. We're also looking to the latest events and also official updates and also changes to different characters and also different builds in the game. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and also turn the notification on, because a lot of you who are watching the videos have not subscribed. You can see 80% of the viewers who are watching our videos have not subscribed, so make sure you subscribe to stay tuned for the latest update for Diablo 4.